There's a moment in every historical deep dive when you stumble across a system so effective, so brilliantly simple, and so quietly influential that you wonder how it ever slipped out of mainstream memory. The farming method we're about to explore wasn't invented by one group, nor confined to one continent. It was the backbone of sustenance for ancient kingdoms, the silent force behind booming populations, and the strategy that allowed early societies to keep soil fertile for centuries without synthetic fertilizers or complex machinery. And yet most modern farmers and homesteaders barely know it exists. If you've ever wanted to understand how civilizations managed to feed millions using nothing more than ecological awareness, hard-earned wisdom, and a deep respect for the land, you're in the right place. This forgotten farming system is more than a historical curiosity. It's a practical blueprint for anyone seeking resilience, productivity, and ecological harmony today. This system began with the understanding that animals and crops were never meant to be separated. Ancient farmers intuitively recognized that plants and animals formed one continuous cycle. Their farming systems weren't divided into neat categories the way modern agriculture often is. Instead, livestock moved through fields in a deliberate rhythm that enriched the soil while feeding the community. This method, known loosely as integrated mixed farming, was practiced from ancient Mesopotamia to medieval Europe, from African highlands to Asian river valleys. The logic was straightforward. Animals provided manure, traction, and grazing pressure that stimulated plant regrowth. Crops provided feed, bedding, and post-harvest residue for the animals. The result was a balanced, self-reinforcing loop that required minimal external inputs yet maintained high yields for centuries. The power of mixed farming came from a cycle that constantly returned nutrients to the land. Crops pull nutrients from the soil, but livestock return them. This relationship kept fields fertile long before chemical fertilizers existed. When animals grazed stubble after harvest, their hooves broke up hardened soil, their manure fed soil microbes, and their presence reduced weed pressure for the following season. In regions such as ancient China, farmers penned livestock overnight on future planting plots, so the ground absorbed concentrated manure. In Africa's Sahel belt, households combined animal corrals with compost pits using layered organic matter and manure to build remarkably fertile planting mounds. Medieval Europeans allowed cattle and sheep to graze fallow fields, ensuring nothing was wasted and everything returned to the earth. This nutrient loop made land productive over long stretches of time without degradation, showcasing an elegance modern monocultures often lack. The system worked because it relied on rotation, movement and timing instead of brute force. Mixed farming succeeded where other systems failed because it respected natural rhythms. Livestock were never kept in one place long enough to destroy pasture. Fields were never planted with the same crop repeatedly. Instead, farmers rotated grains, legumes, and grazing animals in a structured cycle that kept soil biology thriving. For example, a field might grow a heavy-feeding crop like wheat one year, rest with grazing sheep the next, and then host a nitrogen-fixing legume crop the following season. This rotation improved soil structure, encouraged diversity, and interrupted pest cycles without chemicals. The careful timing meant each phase built upon the last rather than exhausting the land. Today, anyone with even a small piece of land can, replicate this by rotating chickens or goats through garden beds, letting them clear weeds, fertilize, and prepare the soil before planting. One of the most striking features of this forgotten system is that, honestly, nothing went unused. Crop residues became animal feed. Animal bedding became compost. Grazed fields became planting grounds. Manure fed fish ponds in some Asian systems, creating multi-tiered food production loops that maximize calories per acre. In medieval monasteries, manure from cattle was carefully stored in pits and turned into stable compost that enriched orchard and vineyard soil for generations. The efficiency was astonishing, especially compared to today's fragmented agriculture, where crop farms and livestock operations are often miles apart. For modern homesteaders, the lesson is simple. Connect as many parts of your food system as possible. Use chicken manure to boost garden fertility after proper composting. Allow goats or sheep to manage overgrown brush. Turn kitchen scraps into feed or compost. Reconnecting these loops saves money and increases food security. You don't need a large farm to bring mixed farming principles into your life. Start with the basic idea: pair plants and animals so each supports the other. A household with a backyard can rotate chickens across small plots using portable coops. The birds scratch, fertilize, and eliminate pests while preparing the soil for planting. Now, someone with a slightly larger space can, alternate vegetable beds with cover crops and small livestock like goats or sheep. By letting them graze down weeds, these animals help return nutrients to the soil. If you don't have any livestock at all, you can still mimic the system. Just collect manure from nearby farms, compost it properly, and then apply it in rotation with your crops. The real key here is to build a loop where nutrients return to the soil, organic matter increases, and, the land actually grows more fertile each year rather than less. Understanding this forgotten system, it really does reshape how we see agriculture, both in the past and today. Civilizations thrived not because they exploited their land recklessly, but because they learned to work with natural cycles. Mixed farming systems offered stability, resilience, and productivity long before scientific terminology explained why they worked. They're a reminder that sustainability isn't a modern invention. It's a rediscovered truth rooted in thousands of years of human experience. For modern survivalists, homesteaders, and anyone interested in self-reliance, these old methods offer more than just inspiration. They offer a roadmap. They prove that we can build food systems that are abundant, ecologically sound, and, deeply connected to the natural world. If you enjoyed this exploration into the farming system that once fed entire civilizations, do subscribe to Husbandry for more historical insight and practical knowledge. Share this video with fellow history buffs, and together let's keep these timeless methods alive.